As you can see, I'm taking the lid off this Cinet BAT286 computer again, and want to do a follow-up this one. When we left this computer last time, I have put the lid on and connected all the leads and so on, and we saw that the computer come into the post screen, but it reported that the battery was dead. And I did kind of a bad job with this last time, for as you can see, underneath the power supply, this Dallas 1287 chip was lurking. And I've actually never encountered one of these chips that survived more than about 12 years of operation. And back in the day, I remember we had this newer version of this chip that actually supported the year 2000 turnover, and we was taking this out of production equipment and replacing them with this newer kind of this chip. But also the newer version of this chip is end of life, and you risk buying these from eBay or other sources, and that the battery is either running out, has run out, or just has a couple of months more life in them. But even back in the day, we had these chips with faulty batteries, and I've seen several YouTubers has discovered the same trick. And the trick is that this chip is actually a normal Dallas chip with a plastic topping. And under this plastic topping there are some bent up legs, and these legs are connected to a very small coin cell battery that's actually inside this plastic. So what we did back in the day, and I've seen several YouTubers, as I said, do this now, we just cut into the plastic here and about here, and we take away the connections to the battery, and we just put on some wires to connect to a coin cell battery, a 2032 or some other coin cell. So what I was planning to do today, I have two different options. One, I can take out the main board and desolder the chip, and I can fix this chip out of the board, or I can try to take my Dremel really carefully and just cut into this plastic and see what I can do with the chip on the main board. The risk is that I actually damage some other stuff in here with the Dremel, so this has to be a really careful operation. Yeah, I actually ended up in taking out the board. I think I would be able to solder on these leads, but I really want to be sure. So I'm taking out this Dallas chip. There is no space here to put it in a socket, unfortunately. Otherwise I would have done that. But I am taking it out for now, and I will repair it when I have desoldered it. Yes, as I said, I ended up desoldering this, and this is the sad rest of the DS1287. As you can see, I have put one grow here and one grow here, and I disconnected this on top here, so the minus pole to the battery is disconnected, and I'm going to solder on a wire here and a wire here. And I'm going to put a coin cell battery that's connected to this. Yeah, I don't like the fact that I can't put this chip in a socket, but as it is, there is not space enough above the chip. If I put in a socket, even the most low profile sockets I have will stick until the bottom of the power supply module. So of course I could have made some other modification. This chip that makes up this 1287 chip also is an ordinary IC with a battery stuck on top. And this chip is actually something that exists. So you can mount this ordinary chip, and you can take the battery and put it connected with a lead and have it removed from the chip itself. And then maybe I would have been able to place it in a socket. I'm not going to do that until I've figured out how good this machine works. And we also have the issue with the LCD that was damaged. So I won't put too much effort into this machine. So hopefully when I solder on the battery here and here, it will be enough to get this machine working. And I will put this back in when I've put the lids on, and I will see if I find some space for the battery elsewhere. Now is just to put this back together, and hopefully we get the result that we are hoping for. So I'm going to solder on the leads to the chip, and I am going to put everything else back together. Yes, and here you have the leads for the battery. I will connect that afterwards. Yes, then we should be ready to put the top back on and test this machine. Hopefully it will be easier to put this back together this time. The problem remains the same with the ferret beads that you have to find an internal place for. Yeah, the problem was that this power lead for the LCD, it was actually interfering with this other wire. The plastic is still holding on, if only to a degree. There are some new cracks in this case, but there is nothing that has been actually in a worse condition than it was before we started the process with gluing, so we can at least be partially satisfied with this. Yes, back together again. And then we have to make a new test. Yes, now I'm back inside my lab. The battery is fitted and the machine is back together, and I've connected it to my lab power supply as last time. And now when I try to enter the BIOS, I get a slightly different message. The current date, time and setup options are probably incorrect. Press any key to continue or escape to abort. And the time and date is just showing gibberish. Is the date correct? No. Enter date format, and it's month, and it's 12. 12 minus, it's the 13th, and it was 20, like this. Oh, we didn't want to swallow that. Not sure how I'm going to enter this, because the format seems really strange and he won't take that. For now I'm just going to say yes, this is the correct date. Your fixed disk drives types are fixed disk drive type 6. Is this correct? But if I say no, how many drives are attached? It's just one drive. Okay, and now I get all these options for type. I will try to check what the Connor CP3044 should have in settings and see if I find something that look alike. I've been checking the specifications online, and it says that it has 980 cylinders and 5 heads. There is no specifications here for sector, but we will just try and go for 1 as the drive type and see what happens. The fixed disk drives are type 1. Is this correct? Yes. Your extension memory is 384 kilobytes should be, so I think 384. Is this correct? No. 384. Yes. Your primary display is internal EGA. Okay, so this is EGA display. Is this correct? Yes. Yeah, and background standard, RGB output disabled, CPU clock high, extend, okay, and N. Setup utility and some version is 2 HD disk drive, not installed, drive type 1. Are they correct? Yes. And the date and time we didn't manage to do anything about, but let's try to fix that later. All information completed. Press any key and your system will reset with your option set ready. Yes. Memory size error. Run setup. Yeah, and if we didn't manage this, we are booting straight into the drive. And now we are back in, and it seems that this computer has Celte actually was a distributor of everything office related, and actually back in the day they was the official distributor of Toshiba brand computers. Maybe it was a different divisions, I don't know. Otherwise it was no reason why they should have a Cinet laptop and not a Toshiba one. But now this is actually booting, and I will try to check if there is actually working. It's DOS 4.0 and it really seems to be working. So So far I will call this a success. I have to look into this time and date. Current time is something, enter new time. The time is 18:45. The date is 30/12/2020. Yes. Yes. Then we call it a success so far. I will try the floppy drive to see if we can read a floppy disk. I will put a disk in the floppy drive. And let's see if we can read the directory. It got a general failure reading drive. I do probably have to take out this drive again and maybe some oil or grease or something. So the work with this computer is not finished, but I think I will call it quits for now. The mission that we set out to accomplish, that we should get this machine to post, is accomplished, and we even got it to boot into DOS. And the hard drive is working and we can read what's there. The floppy drive is a standard 1.44 megabyte floppy drive, so I can even try to change it with another unit. It's the standard internal floppy drive that's used on all kinds of those computers. And this computer even have some old games installed. Normally I would wipe down the drive, but as this was a drive that I was moving data from and other to other media, I normally wait with doing that. I actually wiped down all the personal data from this computer that was stored as document and such. This is Lemmings. I don't remember how to start that, but we can try with the Lemmings bot. We have EGA. For PC compatibles, yeah, you control this with the F keys. We have some issues with contrast and this display, so we should really hook this up to an EGA monitor for having the best experience. Yes, and then the lemming dropping. This is a backlight LCD, so it's actually quite possible to see this even if it's not broad daylight. But as you can see here where the screen is broken, that there is one row here that's totally dead, and the matrix on this is probably cut in half, and maybe this is one dead transistor, maybe it's just one dead contact point to the glass of the LCD, but I'm not going to take it apart to check that. As far as I'm concerned, I will call this a success. And this is the Norton Utilities sysinfo program, where we can see information about the machine. As we can see, it is a 286 12 MHz and EGA graphics and 42 megabyte RISC, 144 floppy, and it's DOS 400 actually. That's not very common. It was a rather bug-riddled version of DOS. Yes, and this is the value from CMOS, and as you can see, the configured memory has a mismatch, and it states that the CMOS battery is operational and the CMOS time is valid. So at least there we have succeeded. And this is the system benchmark, and as you can see, I think this is fairly typical for a 286 computer. And back in the day, the AMD and Intel 286, they were totally interchangeable, so there is no way for Norton Utilities to know that this was AMD processor and not Intel. Now it's testing the disk speed benchmark, and the disk speed benchmark on this should be faster than the IBM system. And this you can see it's 4.2, and yeah, it's twice as fast as the IBM AT, and that is supposed to be like that because the drive in the IBM IT is RLL or MFM drive, but this is an EDI drive, and the EDI drive, it spins faster and it has a faster controller, and the access time of the disk is faster, so it wins on every aspect. So the overall performance index is 5.7, and an IBM AT has 3.7. Not bad. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I will try to get back to you with more videos soon.